On the Southern Farming Muster, we're off to catch up with Monique O'Connell, otherwise known as Mo from DairyNZ. So, Mo, welcome to the Southern Farming Muster.
Hi, Phil. How are you?
Well, we're all right. The sun's out in Gore. Clouds are sort of parted and it's warming up. Mo, where are you hiding at the moment?
I'm down in Invercargill, and I'd love to say it was sunny, but it's a bit overcast down here, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, really, the weather for the last week, it's taken the gloss off things a little bit, hasn't it?
It's been all over the place. Doesn't know what it wants to do.
Yes, exactly. Well, obviously, at times it wanted to be cold and wet. Anyway.
Maybe making up for the warm winter.
Yes, exactly. Well, we're talking about managing surplus pasture. Have we still got some surplus pasture left, actually, after the last week, Mo?
From what I can gather, there's a hell of a lot of surplus pasture out there. Most of the people I'm talking to are thinking about taking baleage and silage in the next couple of weeks, weather dependent, but hopefully that stays the plan. Yeah,
so that's one of the options, I suppose. What other ways have you got of managing some spare stuff?
If it's just a small surplus, often topping has been quite a good option. Or there are other people saying that they're going to get into the regrassing and getting their crop paddocks out a bit earlier than usual as to to maintain that pasture quality over the rest of the property.
Right. So how do you know if you've got surplus pasture? It's a pretty basic question, but what's the easiest way of knowing if you've got a genuine surplus?
Well, we recommend that people go out and do a feed walk each week, and that'll give them a feed wedge, and that's a pretty good way of identifying excess pasture. Also, they can look at the pre- and post-grazing covers that their cows are going into and leaving, the average pasture cover, which will come off that feed wedge as well, and then looking at the growth rate. And using all those things together, along with hopefully a decent weather forecast for the next week, people can get a good idea of whether they're heading into a surplus or not.
Right. So in terms of a residual, what should you be aiming for at this time of year?
Consistent and even is the catchphrase for DairyNZ. That's generally between 1,500 and 1,700, although it depends on the pasture type and the management.
Yep.
So consistent and even across the paddock.
Yep. So there's not too many lumps and bumps left in it.
That's the one.
Right. Well, that is good. We're also going to have a bit of a shout-out, which is a modern term, evidently, far too modern for me. Your Pasture Plus groups. For a start, what are the Pasture Plus groups?
The Pasture Plus groups are a group set up by DairyNZ with the aim of helping people to be able to manage their pasture resource properly and efficiently to get the most out of it. Because we all know that pasture is the biggest feed for cattle or for dairy cows, and we want to make sure that it's of as higher quality as possible and we have as much of it as possible. So it all goes into the vat.
Right. So you've got groups in Eastern and Western Southland. So what are you actually doing with these guys?
At the moment, we're talking a lot about spring pasture management, choosing paddocks to take out that aren't performing and putting into crops or regrassing. And then we're also talking about how we can manage the summer if it did turn dry, hopefully not. And later on in the year, it'll be going through winter and managing crops so we get the most out of them. So it's all land-based stuff and how you get the most out of your land, basically.
Yeah. So how do you actually run these groups? Do you have a look around people's paddocks, or how does it all work?
No, we stay on one farm for each of the groups. So in the Western Southland area, we're on Simon and Liz Harnett's property. And in Eastern Southland, it's Nathan's group, so I'm not completely sure whose property it is, but he's got some great people down there as well that are very into their pasture.
Right. So how often do you have a look across and a discussion on what's happening?
Oh, about 6 or 7 times a year. So we've had a couple of groups already, and the next group for Nathan in Eastern Southland is on the 14th of November. And the next group for me in Western Southland will be on the 29th of October.
Right. Oh, well, that's sounding very good. So are you making progress with these guys?
Oh, hopefully. But it's early days yet. We'll see when we get to the end of it.
Right. Well, this time we're going to look a long, long way down the track. At the end of the season, actually past the end of the season, you've got the South Island Dairy event. The side conference is happening down in Invercargill.
That's the one. It's going to be a massive event. It's always comes back with good feedback from people who go along to it, and we're lucky enough to have it in Invercargill next year.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to make the most of.
Yeah, and it's going to be in the new stadium. The last time I went to it, it was the old stadium. This time it's going to be in the new stadium.
Yeah, here's hoping. It should be good down there. It's a
Yeah.
good venue.
Yeah, it is a wonderful venue. Well, it will be when they're finished it. Anyway, Mo, thanks for your time on the Southern Farming Muster. We'll look forward to catching up with one of the team again next Thursday.
Awesome. Thank you very much.